So,
show what the roof is.
I will plug something for our show because I know the guys are really excited about this one. This is so weird because this is going to be our second time we're covering this on our show. 4 years ago, we were doing this show, and Scotty and Eric came into the studio. Eric's like only appearance in the studio, and they did an entire breakdown of the World Cup of Soccer. Well, yes. That time of the year is coming again next summer, and the two of them have already said they'll be here in studio to do a full-out, full detailed World Cup of Soccer preview show again this year. They promised me this a year and a half ago that they're going to do this next summer. So I can get Scotty away from the baby for a couple of hours, and he can come here and he'll do that. So there you go. That's next summer. And looking forward to that. That's going to be really a lot of fun. They're going to
break down the brackets and everything?
They did. If you only missed it, maybe I'll put it up on the archives. Put it up in the archives sometime next summer. I'll put it up in the archive. Give us a week off, and I'll put it up in the archive show.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
When they did this, the last time they did this, they did it. They literally sat down with the entire brackets of the World Cup, and they went through every single solitary country, every matchup, every pool, everything in full detail. It was an hour-plus show, and I was so impressed by the two of their knowledge. It was one of the best shows we put up that year. It was such a great episode.
I am hoping the American team...
They're not playing.
I know, but I'm hoping the American team learns from this.
It's true. It's true.
And better their program.
All right, so Sal, let's get into our last big segment before we get to the awards. How about that?
Okay.
And this is actually something that we took over from the wrestling room last year. So here we go.
It's so very confident Easter boy Ric Flair to come on here and say a thing or two. Unfortunately, you all deserve this. Under the sea, under the sea. Oh, get like that.
But don't worry, you could have seen the commando.
And that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. That's so ratchet.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Glorious. Happy birthday, America. I'm the only one who blows my girl. My bad. Holla, holla, holla. I'll fade away and classify myself as obsolete. Stop. Listen. Because.
I am Lance Catamaran.
All right. What a weird year it's been. That is edited. That's been edited so many times this year, and it's such a weird year it's been. 2017 in wrestling. So, last year, we didn't do this on our show because we had the wrestling room going on last year at this time. Me and Dad sat down, and we did the wrestling superlatives. And we went through it. We did our big category. Instead of doing voting, we just discussed it. So let's do that this year for the 2017 wrestling superlatives. Now, for the last time in 2017, we play that. There you go. That was totally improv just now. I had no plan to do that until just now. There you go. All right, so let's get into this. Let's bang through these superlatives. Top WWE male wrestler 2017. Dad, who you got?
I'm going to have to go with AJ.
Oh, yeah, I have to agree with you. AJ Styles, the man this year. I loved him this year. I love him anyway. I absolutely love AJ Styles to begin with. I've been a fan with him forever. But he has made SmackDown so watchable in the last, year. Sal, what are you thinking?
I said Braun Strowman.
Okay, I like that. I like that, though.
I mean, he had a big, huge breakout year, and he was involved in all major storylines pretty much on Raw.
I'll give you that one. Braun has been he didn't put this on here, but he was the biggest up-and-coming star this year. Unexpected, yep. One of the biggest surprises of the entire year. Am I right, Dad?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Braun was amazing.
The way they put him over in the program they had, especially with him and Brock, and
him and Roman. And Roman had one of the feuds of the year. The two of them had a feud of the year because The fact that he got the phrase over Roman, "I'm not finished with you," and made that into a catchphrase that was in commercials for toys.
Yep.
Like, how did that happen? Like, that's insane.
If you think about it, okay, you put this wrestler that basically is kind of in the background, you bring him to the foreground, you have an excellent match between him and Roman and him and Brock.
And the Roman feud was amazing this year. Absolutely. They made an ambulance match relevant. The two of them made an ambulance match relevant.
Yes.
How crazy is that?
and think, you got to thank WWE Creative.
Yes. But
when
still, the two of them are amazing
when
chemistry.
Braun came back. Think about. I mean,
oh yeah,
there was a lot of
has been amazing.
There was a lot of thought into this program and how they were going to package it, and they did an excellent job.
Good call. They had to talk about Braun for a minute. Very nicely done. Let's go female, and I'm going to surprise some people here because I'm not saying my girl because she did not have a good year. My girl did not have that good of a year. Bayley did not have a good year. I love her to death, but she did not have a good year. I'm going to go with the female athlete of the year, going to Alexa Bliss, who has become one of the biggest stars in the women's division on both brands out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Because she was one of those, we were wondering why is she being brought up to NXT, and now is she the biggest star on Raw. I don't know how this happened, but she has been. Sal, what are you thinking?
I said Alexa Bliss as well. She was a superstar on SmackDown. She was a superstar on Raw. She's probably one of the better women's.
There you go.
Yeah, but I can. It's Alexa Bliss has definitely listed out. Dad, your thoughts on Alexa, and if you have anything else different for the top wrestler this year in women's wrestling?
She has made, how can I put it, improvements and strides to put her in that position, but I'm going to go with Asuka.
Oh, okay, I can go with that. Asuka was a weird one because she spent half the year in NXT and half the year in WWE. So I was kind of torn on where to put her.
Because my thing is,
why didn't put her on a list at all?
If they continue the program they had with her in NXT,
she's still undefeated. As of this recording, she's still undefeated. Just
right.
Put it out there.
Right. So if they continue that program, I see her getting that championship match. I see her getting the belt down the road and having that program continue with the success they had in NXT.
Would you do that at Mania?
Yes.
Would Asuka beat Alexa Bliss at Mania?
Yes. Only because you want to put a character, I shouldn't say character, a wrestler
yeah.
with that program in that main spotlight, and for her to get the belt on WrestleMania would be very emotional.
Okay, fair enough. I like that idea. It's going to be weird because there's a possibility that we can get Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles and Asuka versus Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania. That'd be insane. If that happens, that'd be amazing for the WWE right now, you know? And it would make up for the Roman Brock match. Anyway, let's move on to... this is a tough one for me. This was really tough for me because tag team wrestling has been fantastic this year. So top WWE tag team. I'll start with Dad. What do you got?
I still have to go with the Usos.
I have to agree with you. The Usos have been amazing this year. They've been absolutely amazing this year.
I mean,
I put them on my list too.
They came out as heels.
I love their gimmick
and then
right
have
now. I
now
love the
kind
Day
of,
One-ish gimmick.
fan favorite, even though you get that little edge
they
to
never
them.
turned. They never officially turned, which I love the fact that
Right.
they turned.
It was kind of like, and I'm going back, is that Stone Cold persona where basically he was like the anti-hero, but never was the face, and that's still how the Usos were. It's like that
We started here in
anti-heel.
Milwaukee. They came Milwaukee. They got brought out like heroes.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible.
So, I mean, I got to go with Jimmy and Jay.
And I won't. And I know Sal, you said you agree with us with the Usos. I don't want to take out the New Day because the Usos and the New Day have one of the best feuds in tag team wrestling I've seen in years. They have one of the best feuds I've seen in years. So, Sal, I'll throw it to you now.
Yeah, no, I said the Usos as well. I feel like just storyline wise they were fantastic. Character wise they were fantastic. They're relevant. They're fantastic. You know, they've had some great matches over the past year, and you know, despite the fact that I might complain about their being annoying on the mic sometimes, for me personally,
Of course.
you know, New Day last year was a complete breakout. I mean, the New Day could have had their own show
Pretty much.
last year, and they chilled out. Yep, they chilled out a little bit this year, which is fine. I'm not saying that that's bad, but yeah, definitely the Usos definitely stepped up and became, to me, the tag team.
I can't even argue this, and I hope we go into 2018 and them still as champions. They deserve to go into like a Mania as champions. That's my personal opinion. They deserve that, the way this year has been.
Yeah.
Personal note, though, can we
Go
have
for it.
less twerking from Big E, though?
That's his whole thing, though.
But
Watching it all big.
it's
By the way,
getting...
New Day's
I
entrance
like
in
it.
person is amazing. New Day's entrance in person. You talk about a crowd pleaser. This crowd in here in Milwaukee, when the New Day came out, they go from like being like booing heel, but the New Day, everybody in that arena loves the New Day. Every single solitary person in that building loved the New Day. It was absolutely incredible to be in the arena for that entrance.
I mean,
Note that.
and the reason the New Day works is that their character gimmick is way over the top.
And it's great.
And that makes them that much more, I guess, cheered.
Yeah, it's great. Let's go to NXT, because they're pretty much a company on their own at times, it feels like. And top NXT male wrestler. I'm curious what everybody's chosen here. I have an interesting selection myself. Sal, I'll start with you.
I put Nakamura here.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I put
Interesting.
Nakamura here under NXT because, obviously he wasn't NXT for about half the year.
Yeah, he was champion half the year, too, yeah.
Yeah, he was champion. I mean, he had some great matches. He's been called up and everything like that, and he's been doing a fantastic job, and his matches with Randy Orton have been really, really good as far as them being a tag team and everything like that. But, he really was the superstar that they needed after all of the call-ups happened, and he really filled in that role perfectly.
It's funny, because this year started with Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura in a feud. That's what this year started as. Which is crazy when you think about it, I'm going to go with someone different. I'm going to go with the undefeated Aleister Black.
Oh, okay, yes.
As the man who has, if you watch the NXT weekly television show, this is my personal opinion, he is the star of that show. Because they advertise every week when he's going to show up, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance. They advertise when he was going to cut his first promo. Like, they treat him as a mega star in NXT right now. It is pretty much incredible what they do for him. So, and I hope WrestleMania weekend he becomes champion. That's my personal opinion. Go ahead, Dad.
Drew McIntyre.
Okay, fair enough.
And
That's good.
the only reason I say that is because he's been in that position where he's on the call up on the main roster. Things happen, differences happen, but I think he's more matured and learned from this, especially going to other promotions and then re-entering the WWE's promotion. So I think he's matured and learned from his mistakes.
Well, I have Drew McIntyre in the list for later. I want to bring him up later on for something else. So, let's go to women's wrestling. And this is a tough one for me because I could have easily said Asuka here, but I decided to not say Asuka, mainly because I feel like the year is dominated by her. And I went with the current NXT Women's Champion, Amber Moon, who has had a hell of a year. And she is the only woman that almost beat Asuka. Almost only one. She's the only one that almost did it. And it was absolutely amazing. And her rise to championship glory was one of the stories of this entire year. So, Sal, what do you say?
It's funny you say that. I was so torn between Ember Moon and Asuka, but I did decide to choose Asuka just because of the fact that she was undefeated. She had this whole story behind her and everything like that, and I didn't want to discredit her from that.
That's true. That's a valid point. Dad, what are you thinking here?
I have to make it a trifecta. I would have to go between Amber Moon and Asuka.
It's tough, right?
But like Sal said, I have to go with Asuka only because how the program went, her undefeated streak, and kind of like her passing the torch. And this is going to continue on the main roster, and hopefully Creative is not going to fuck it up.
That's true. All right, let's move on to Tag Team NXT. Now, this is a tough one because this has been a weird year for tag teams. It really has been a strange year. I'm going to go with a team that I did not think was as good as they thought they were going to be, and it's Sanity. They are so good. They are so good. And I didn't expect them. Between them and the Authors of Pain, they are so much better than they deserve to be. They really are so much better than I ever thought they'd be. So I'm going to go Sanity as my tag team of the year. Sal, what are you thinking?
I went the opposite way. I did say the Authors of Pain. They had a fantastic breakout year.
Yeah, fair enough. The Authors of Pain, they've come from this team that was sloppy and all this stuff, and now they had great matches. They've had great matches this past